There was a night Neville came to me, young, thin, cold, and told me everything he had been doing to get to Barbados. His discipline, his visualizing, his concentration. He had a whole list. I let him finish. I did not interrupt him once. And when he was done, I said one thing, and it made him go quiet. I said, "Neville, I have not asked you what you are doing. I have asked you who you are being. And every word you just spoke told me you are being a man who is still in New York." He did not have an answer for that. There was no answer for that. I am going to tell you the 4 things I made Neville stop doing that night, and I want you to hear me clearly. Not one of them was a technique, because in the next few days, something ordinary is going to happen to you. A bill will come, someone will let you down, a plan you were counting on will quietly fall apart. And instead of the old fall, that drop in the stomach, that spiral, you are going to feel something strange. Nothing will move in you. You will be still, unbothered, and you will not understand why until tonight. I know why you are here, and I know exactly what you have been doing before you found me. You have been doing the law, visualizing harder, affirming more, watching more videos, collecting more techniques, hoping the next one is the one that finally works. You have turned manifestation into a task list, into a discipline, into something you perform in the morning and check again at night to see if it took. And underneath that, there is a fear you have not said out loud, not even to yourself. It is not the fear that this won't work. It is deeper than that. It is the fear that it will work and then be taken from you, that somewhere, some part of you doesn't get to keep good things, that you will get the raise and lose the job, get the love and lose the peace. That good arriving is somehow a countdown to good leaving. Hear me. Every technique you have added on top of that fear was you trying to push your way out of a state while never actually leaving the state. You have been a poor man visualizing wealth, a frightened person affirming peace. And the whole time your state, the actual atmosphere you live inside of, was louder than any word you spoke over it. Neville wrote it plainly, and I want you to receive it exactly as he wrote it. The man who is aware of being poor and prays for riches is functioning on the assumption that he is poor. That was Neville's line, not mine, and it is surgical. You cannot pray your way out of a state you are still confessing. Let me take you back. New York, December. Neville was broke, genuinely broke, and all he wanted was to spend that winter in Barbados with his family. He came to me the way you might come to a teacher, hoping for a method, hoping I would give him steps, something to do. I did not give him steps. I looked at him and I said, "You are in Barbados." He started to protest. No money, no ship, no way to get there. I would not let him finish the sentence. I turned away from him. I refused to discuss the how. I would not let him reason with me, and I would not let him reason with himself in front of me, because reasoning was exactly what was keeping him in New York. I was not trying to be difficult. I was refusing to let Neville be a man who wanted Barbados. Wanting keeps you where you are. I forced the identity instead. He went home that night and he did not lie down as a man hoping. He lay down as a man already there, feeling the island air, hearing his family's voices, letting the actual texture of arrival move through his body before his body had gone anywhere. He slept as though he were already there, and the money came. A letter arrived with more than enough. The ship came, he sailed. I did not give him a technique that night. I took 4 things away from him, and those 4 subtractions are exactly what I am going to give you. Here is the one thing beneath all 4, and I want it to sit in you before we go further. You are not trying to reach the state. You are the state. The only question that has ever mattered is which one. There is no such thing as manifesting, not really, not the way you have been taught to picture it, some force outside you that you have to convince or bargain with or perform for. There is only consciousness assuming a state, and that state hardening slowly into fact. That is the entire mechanism. Every technique you have ever tried has failed at the exact moment it was performed from outside the wish fulfilled instead of from inside it. You cannot visualize your way into a state you keep stepping out of to check on. And the 4 things I stopped in Neville were not habits I corrected. They were 4 different ways he kept stepping outside the state to look at it, which is the one thing that unmakes an assumption. Neville said it in a sentence I have carried for decades, and I will not paraphrase it because it does not need paraphrasing. Man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. Sit with that. Not some causes, any cause. There is no landlord, no economy, no diagnosis, no other person's opinion of you that has ever caused anything. There is only your state, dressed up as circumstance. And he said something else, borrowing from Blake but making it entirely his own, that I want you to hear as if I am handing it to you directly. Man is all imagination, and God is man, and exists in us, and we in him. The eternal body of man is the imagination, and that is God himself. You do not have an imagination the way you have a hand or a habit. You are imagination, and imagination by its nature has no outside to reach toward. There is nowhere to travel to. There is only a change of state, right where you already are. Now, before I give you the 4 things, I want to give you something you can hold tonight, because I can see that your results have felt inconsistent, and I want you to hear this as relief, not as failure. What I gave Neville that night was really one full nightly movement, made of 4 parts working together, clearing the day through revision, correcting the inner speech that runs underneath your thoughts, building one precise scene, and falling asleep inside that scene, inside the feeling of it being done. Most people, without knowing it, only ever do one of those 4. That is the entire reason it has felt like a coin toss. It was never you failing. The routine itself was simply incomplete. So I wrote something short, and it is free. It is called Rewrite Tonight. It is a complete 3-minute pre-sleep revision. How to choose the 3 moments from your day that are quietly disturbing your sleep without your realizing it. How to revise each one before you close your eyes, and how to feel the actual clearing that happens when the subconscious carries a clean record into the night instead of a wounded one. It is the first link in the description below. Open it tonight. Or, if that is easier for you right now, comment the single word reset, and I will point you straight to it. There is also a fuller version if you want to go deeper, a complete 7-night guided walk through all 4 movements together called the Transfer Protocol, $27, through that same link. I mention it once, and only because some of you will want it. You do not need it tonight. Tonight, start free. Start with Rewrite Tonight. But when you comment reset, I want you to do something with it. Do not comment it the way you comment on anything else. Comment it as a declaration that you are done borrowing power from outside yourself, done doing the law from a distance, hoping it reaches you, done being a subject in a world that you, yourself, are the one dreaming. Now let me give you the 4. The first thing I stopped in Neville was asking, It sounds almost cruel to hear it that plainly, but it is the truest thing I know. Prayer that pleads is prayer that denies. The moment you ask for a thing, you have already testified, out loud, to the state that does not have it. Wanting and having cannot occupy the same breath. One always cancels the other. This is why Neville wrote what he wrote. The man who is aware of being poor and prays for riches is functioning on the assumption that he is poor. He was not being poetic. He was describing a law as exact as gravity. When Neville came to me wanting Barbados, I would not let him ask me for a way there. I would not let him beg the how. Begging is a posture, and the body remembers postures. So I want you, starting tonight, to stop petitioning your life. Stop asking God. Stop asking the universe. Stop asking your own mind for things as though they are elsewhere. Start presuming. Speak the way a person speaks who already has the thing in hand. Casually, warmly, without urgency, because urgency itself is a confession. The second thing I stopped in Neville was confessing the present facts. This one will offend the part of you that prides itself on being honest. So let me say it gently, and let me say it firmly. Being honest about your lack is not virtue. It is maintenance. Every time you describe your situation accurately, the balance, the diagnosis, the silence from someone you love, you are not reporting reality. You are re-signing the lease on it. You are telling your own deep mind once more that this is what is true, and your deep mind, being obedient, keeps producing evidence to match. Neville used to tell of a man earning far less than he wanted. $600 a month was the figure he gave. A man who simply stopped telling himself and everyone else what he actually made. Instead, he assumed the feeling of the man who already earned the greater amount. He fell asleep in that assumption night after night, not performing it, just resting in it the way you rest in a chair that fits you. And the raise came, without any visible chain of cause leading to it. No promotion he engineered, no conversation he forced. It simply arrived, the way water arrives at the low point of a field, not because it was pushed, but because that is where it belonged now. So stop rehearsing your situation to yourself, out loud or silently. The facts in front of you are only the out-picturing of an old state. Do not water a plant you are trying to be done with. The third thing I stopped in Neville was checking. This is the one that undoes more people than any other, because it feels so reasonable. You assume the state, and then, an hour later, or a day later, you look around to see if it is coming true yet. You check your phone, you check your bank app, you check the tone of the reply, and in that checking, you have stepped outside the state to verify the state, which is the exact motion that dissolves it. To check is to doubt with better manners. It is faith in reverse, and Neville named it precisely. Fear is faith in reverse gear. Every anxious glance backward at your circumstances is belief moving the wrong direction with just as much force as belief moving forward. When Neville stood in front of me insisting on discussing the how of Barbados, I turned my back on him, not to wound him, to protect him from himself. I refused to let him keep peeking at the mechanics because the peeking was the leak, the refusal was the teaching. So tonight, and every night after, stop monitoring your life for confirmation. Assume the state once, fully, and then let it drop beneath the surface, the way a stone drops beneath water and disappears from sight, but never stops sinking toward the bottom. Let the world catch up to you in silence. It will. It always has. The fourth thing I stopped in Neville was believing that anything else in the world had power over him. Not the ship, not the money, not the distance, not the season. He had come to me half convinced that Barbados was being withheld by circumstance, by the sheer, stubborn arithmetic of not having enough, and I would not let that stand. I collapsed it in 4 words. You are in Barbados. There was nothing left outside of him to blame, and nothing left outside of him to wait on. This is the line I want to live in you the way it has lived in me for decades. Man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. Not the economy, not the other person, not the timing, not the past, not the body, not the family you were born into. There is one operant power in this universe, and you are standing in the middle of it, and it is your own consciousness. Stop crediting circumstance with authorship of your life. You did not simply witness your life. You are the one who has been writing it in a hand you did not recognize as your own. You are the power. There is no other. Say that back to yourself later tonight, when you are alone, and notice what it does to your shoulders. Now look at what we actually walked through together. Not one of those 4 was a technique. There was no ritual in any of them, no formula, no steps to memorize. Every single one was an identity, a way of being that Neville either kept or was made to release. I did not teach him to do more that night. I made him be one thing, entirely, and I would not let him unbe it in front of me. So here is what I want you to do, only this, before you sleep tonight. Lie down and take the one moment from today that disturbed you, the bill, the message that landed wrong, the tone in someone's voice you couldn't shake. Do not fight it, and do not relive it as it happened. In your imagination, run it again the way it should have gone. Let it end well. See the resolution clearly. And here is the part almost everyone skips, the part that actually matters. Feel the relief of it already being so, the way you'd feel relief the moment after good news, and let that feeling carry you down into sleep. One scene, not 10 scenes, not a whole reel of the day. One felt completely, not merely watched like a film on a screen somewhere in front of you. Neville put it this way, and I have never found better words for it. If the state with which you fall asleep is one that you would not have made real, revise it. That drowsy border right before sleep is not a waiting room. It is a door. Whatever passes through it last is what your night carries into the deep mind, undisturbed, uncontested, growing roots while you rest. That is one movement of the 4. The complete 3-minute version. How to find the 3 moments quietly running your nights without your permission and clear every one of them properly. That is what is waiting for you in Rewrite Tonight, the first link below. If you have not opened it yet, comment reset and I will send you there myself. And that fear I named earlier, the one whispering that this won't hold, that whatever good arrives will only be taken back. I want you to hear me clearly on this before you go. That fear was never weakness in you. It never was. That was your old self, the one who has run your life on lack for years, fighting for what it believed was its life. It was screaming because it was dying. The fear was not a warning sign telling you to stop. It was proximity. It meant you were close. And if you can feel it right now, still, faintly, in your chest, you are still close. So remember what I told you at the beginning of tonight. In the next few days, something will arrive that once would have flattened you. The bill, the silence, the person who lets you down exactly the way they always have. And you will feel it come the way you always have, that familiar shape approaching. But this time, watch closely, because something in you will not move. You will be still, unbothered, and in that stillness, quiet as a thought that isn't quite yours, and isn't quite mine, you will hear it. You are the power. There is no other. That day is already decided. I am not guessing at it. I am telling you plainly, so that when it happens, you will remember that I told you this. But there is a fifth thing, and it is the one Neville resisted the longest of all, longer than any of the 4 I gave you tonight, because almost every teacher you have ever listened to will tell you to hold the state, to grip it, to guard it, to keep checking that you have not let it slip. And that grip, that very act of holding on, is the one thing standing between you and it becoming real. In the next video, I am going to show you why the people who manifest fastest are, without exception, the ones who let go completely. How putting the wish to sleep fully is not surrender at all. It is completion. I will see you there.